we're dealing with the subject matter of conscience, and that's why I'm focusing on it so much in the videos, because conscience is it's the highest standard in decisions in law. We may many times don't realize, because conscience is knowledge of God, it's something that's been placed in us from the source of life, and therefore when we don't recognize conscience, or we do something against conscience, that's where you feel guilty. So the system that goes against conscience has always got this guilty scene going on the offenses that occur within it, and therefore when we look at the theme here, conscience trumps bad contracts, you have to look at where you were originally. Your original name, born in the time and era of the greatest event that ever occurred, which was the execution of Jesus Christ as the king, and the fact that he was declared by the Roman civil system to be such, and therefore this sovereignty exists because it happened in a historical event that involved what is Roman civil law. And because the civil system is everywhere, this Roman system is all over the world, as they, managed to conquer. The Roman Catholic Church just carried on the conquering through, a different hat, but it is still the same system. So I'm going to read you just a little comment on something that was entitled "Conscience Trumps Bad Contracts." It says, "The law has a conscience, believe it or not. So if you sign a contract that's really bad and unfair and just plain dumb, the law's conscience can swoop in and save you." Okay, so let's look at it. You were unalienable in the beginning, because that's what non-transferable means. So you can't transfer your given name to the state because it's not theirs. It's private, it's unalienable, and it was paid for, and it represents truth, a fact, it's a given. It's not a fiction, and therefore it is superior and anterior to anything to do with man's positive law, which runs fiction. A fiction is just a fancy word for something made up, a lie. So when we look at being unalienable and then all of a sudden taking on or being duped into a contract to take over the government legal contract of debt through a bond, becoming now the responsible surety for this, we've walked into an unconscionable contract because you didn't come into the world in debt. And because we were born after the event that canceled all debt, we're not debtors, but we have taken on the cover under falsehood of being a debtor. So we wear a false hood in order to cover up truth. So yes, this is induced. Yes, this is part of a very corrupt system. Man's system is corrupt. So it's like calling a pine tree a pine tree. That's just the truth of it. Man is corrupt because his body corrupts and goes to the ground. So I would never expect him to do anything more than what is corruptible when his journey is down that. It's being something that's not spiritual. So we have to really take a look at our, where conscience is. But that is a very, very important thing. I'm going to read again, give you a little explanation here. When it says conscience trumps bad contracts, the law has a conscience, believe it or not. And so if you sign a contract that's really bad, well, you signed to get into the Social Security or Social Insurance program to take the government off of this debt, this birth certificate bond. So therefore, you've literally become surety for another, and most surely smart for it. So it says, so if you sign a contract that's really bad and unfair and just plain dumb, well, what's a dummy in law? One who holds legal title for another. So therefore, your given name holding the legal title out of ignorance is no excuse. And therefore, if you've done it, you've walked into the legal trap. And therefore, you're acting as a surety for something that really doesn't exist. And debt doesn't exist because money doesn't grow on trees. There is no natural existence of it. You didn't come into existence with money. So therefore, you don't leave with any money. And therefore, the whole thing is nothing but a ridiculous lawyer's play game as the devil's advocate. So hopefully this video has helped you get yourself into a proper mode of thought, and we'll go on to the next video.